So you're thinking about making a move to Portland, Oregon? Well, get prepared for all the snow. We have more snow than you think. Just kidding. But let's talk about it. If you're new to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap that notification bell because we put out content every week on Portland life. Today is all about the weather, so stick around. And if you are making that move, all of our contact information is listed below. We would love to hear from you and help you make a smooth transition to the Portland metro area. All right, guys, so I thought I would do a video today on weather. How appropriate. As you can tell in the background, we've got snow, we've had ice. The last 24 to 48 hours have been very exciting. We were prepped and ready to go because guess what? As we've mentioned in other videos, Portlanders are just not prepared for this kind of weather at all. Neither is the city. In fact, we basically just hunker down and hang out in our houses until we know the roads are clear. Well, not everybody does that. As you can probably see on the news, there's a lot of people that go out when it's really bad and they get stuck on the sides of the freeways, the roads. And it's not like we have a lot of snow. You can tell from the background, this is, it's a couple of inches, maybe 4 in certain places. Shouldn't be a problem, but we just don't know how to drive in it. And honestly, our city is not equipped to send a bunch of snow vehicles out there to plow the roads. They might plow the major roads, the highways, the freeways, but all of the side roads, the neighborhoods, you're pretty much drive at your own risk. And you will see that when it first starts to snow, a lot of people get stuck. They don't have the snow tires, they don't have chains, they don't have all-wheel drive. And quite frankly, it's almost funny to just watch some of the social media clips of people trying to drive up hills when it's completely snowy because they just get stuck. So, but it's exciting, right? Because we don't get a lot of snow here in Portland, like a lot of places where it snows all the time. I was talking to a client who's back east and they literally live with snow almost all winter long. Like if it snowed a couple of inches there, it's no big deal. They keep moving and grooving. But here in Portland, we just don't. So if you're gonna live here, you need to be prepared for that. We also talk about how hilly Portland is. It is extremely hilly. And so the flatlands tend to get drier faster, cleared faster. It's easier to get around, but it can be a completely different story in the neighborhoods. Now, I want to kind of share a little bit about when do we see this kind of weather happen, because while it's really exciting, it just doesn't honestly happen that often. It is as we speak, at the time I'm doing this video, it is February. And usually it seems that if we're gonna get a snow or ice storm, it's gonna happen in the month of February. Now, the snowiest months on record tend to be December, January, February, but it is very, very rare you would see any kind of snow activity in the month of December. That's usually when we all wanna see it. Christmas rolls around, we're all excited to see a little bit of snow because, that's just kind of how we think of it when the holidays are there. But quite honestly, we typically, if we're gonna have snow, don't see it till the end of January or February. So it's a rainy city. Why do we have snow? When is it the honest to God rainiest here in the Portland area? So between November and March is usually when we have our wettest months. November usually, I'm kind of being usual because every year is a little different, but November is very rainy. It's almost like the wind and the rain are there to knock all the leaves off the trees. And it feels like you go from like clear blue skies, getting colder in October to boom, you're in the throes of that heavy rain you always hear about. Plus it's dark and it's cold and it seems relentless. But then you kind of get this weird break sometimes in the January timeframe. Like this January for Portland was unbelievably beautiful. It was like crystal blue skies for weeks on end, it felt like. In fact, we were telling some people who came to town who watch our channel, this is not normal. We don't have days and days and days of sun. It was not warm, so understand that. It was freezing cold, but it was very beautiful most of January. We got a really good, and actually that's my favorite kind of weather, icy cold, but clear blue skies. But then after we get through February, which this February is very, very cold, we've been in the 20s and 30s. It's been very dry. We actually haven't had a ton of rain. March rolls around and the spring hits. I personally think as an Oregonian living here my whole life, that March, April, May tend to be the wettest. It feels that way. It is certainly warmer than it is now. But the weather, I mean, the rain just comes down. And I always think, okay, we're gearing up to make all of the beauty happen. All of the flowers and trees and everything else is going to bloom. And that's why we need the weather. But it feels a lot more relentless in the rain in those months, even though they're not technically our rainiest months on record. So just be prepared. It warms up March, February, May. Sometimes we get an early start to the summer in May and we start having really nice weather, and the days of rain just are fewer and far between. And sometimes even June can be pretty darn wet. Last year it was perfect starting in May, and it seemed to give us a really long stretch of summer. But sometimes we joke as Oregonians that summer doesn't start till after July 4th, haha, because sometimes it honestly can, almost rain up until July 4th. So, and then July and August tend to be our warmest months in the entire year. And then September is like this perfect month of, 70, 60 degrees. It's often on days of cool and warm. Even October can be like that. October can be just glorious fall coolness with bright crystals, here's that word again I struggle with, crystal, blue skies, but cold. So to me, November is probably the rainiest month that I notice, March, April, and May. So those to me, just living here year over year, seeing all the, seasons over and over again, those tend to be the wettest months. But the nice thing about Portland is we have all 4 seasons. We've said this over and over again. If you're coming from the East Coast or areas of the country where all winter long it's just snow, 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 maybe you're not seeing a lot of rain like we do here, but you're getting a lot of snow. Maybe this is going to be a breath of fresh air. Maybe you're tired of living in California or drier climates where you're always worried that the weather is going to cause a natural disaster. We've had so many reach outs from people in Florida, people in California this year. You guys have just had a crazy amount of natural disasters going on. And I think a lot of people are like, you know what, I can handle a little water. We're just not dealing with the same amount of travesty. Yes, our insurance costs have gone up. I think everyone in the country is going to see their insurance costs go up, but it is nothing like what those states in the union are facing that are dealing with natural disasters every single year. So Portland is great with the weather. If you don't mind it being a little cold from time to time, you will get your snow days here and there. They're exciting when they happen, but the nice thing is they kind of go away fast too. So while we're trapped in our homes for 24, 48 hours, sometimes longer, every once in a while we'll get a year where we're kind of trapped for, 4 or 5 days. It just goes away fast. It's kind of like you get your fix and you're moving on. Well, thanks for joining me while I showed you guys around outside. I thought it would just be so appropriate to show you some actual, snow on the ground, because this is going to be probably limited to just this week. And if you guys have any questions about the weather, about moving here, drop your comments below. Better yet, just hit us up. We love getting the reach outs from you guys, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.